Wednesday, August the 12th, 2020, and I'm down in Ayot Green, Hertfordshire. Stood next to the busy A1M, as you can hear just down the side to me there. About time to take 10.5 miles today on a very humid day. Circular from this position. Some of the scenery will be familiar because I've done it, or some of it, for a Saturday Walkers Club walk. Slightly different terrain on this one, but there will be some duplication. Like I say, the weather is pretty hot today, in the low 30s again, but humid with it, so there might be a storm this afternoon. It's also a late start, around 1:30. I'm hoping to take my lunch at the church in Ayot St Lawrence, which I've been to before. So as it's a late start, I need to get cracking. That church should be about 5 miles into the walk, approximately halfway. The walk starts off with a bit of quiet lane walking. Then up these easily missed steps to join a cycleway, hopefully shortly. Now, although there's a footpath marked straight ahead there, we're actually going to follow this old railway line, which I believe it to be. Turning left on the CNC 57 cycle route. And there's more of a clue, Station House. So yeah, as previously mentioned on this walk, lost rails. It's an old railway line well into Dunstable. So this is now known as the Ayot Greenway, not dissimilar to the one at Letchworth for walkers and cyclists. Partly why I chose this walk today, because I knew it would be tree covered for a good part of the walk. So we now leave Ayot Greenway after that brief bit of respite. Follow the path here to the right, hugging closely Saul Wood. And that's the former railway line onward. It's got quite an incline on it for a rail line, but there you go. Now, interestingly, just at the beginning of Saul Wood, I noticed a diversion here, or a possibility into the wood itself, which would have been preferable, but because I didn't know where it went, I've stuck with the GPX version, which hugs the wood on the outside. But there's another example of a GPX possibly needing a revisit for an update, because this one was done in 2013, which is relatively new for the ones I've been doing recently. And that's about as close as I'm going to get to a combine this year. There you got a class median. Small blade on that, I notice. As you can hear here, or not at the moment you can't, but the old parakeets have got up this far. Yeah, gone quiet now. Anyway, take a right here, still following cycleway 12, Water End Lane. Past a very unusual looking church, quite amazing. Always amazes me the variety we have. This one is actually dedicated to St Peter. Look at that wonderful clock. Amazing. So just opposite the church, follow this footpath to White Hill. I suppose it's appropriate that the church is a St Peter, bearing in mind that we are in Ayot St Peter. Onward journey now is along this track. Passing shot of said church, very pleasantly positioned. More shady paths, which, as I say, is why I chose this walk today. I did have one lined up, a 12-miler over near Luton at Caddington, but that was too exposed, too much downland I felt, once it became clear what the weather was going to do. So hence this one today, which is turning out to be very good again. The old robins singing in the background. Pair of them. So coming out of woodland, or that wooded area, got a decent vista here. Today's heights are 237 low, around about 450 high, if I remember correctly. So at this juncture here, don't go through that gate as I just did, but follow the hedge down to School Lane, according to the finger post. Through the wood, more woodland. Another pleasant ascent through Rectory Wood on the map. Nice bit of mixed woodland here. And this brings us out opposite Ayot Berry. We take a right here. On the bend of this quiet lane, now follow this track, footpath only. And that over there on my right is Welling, not Garden City, but probably Old Welling. Now headed towards Rayfield Farm on the map, from a point just outside Lindsay's farm on the map. And that's why the old crows are cawing. Not sure what that was. Didn't look like a kite to me. Had a long tail, so it wasn't a buzzard. Yeah, it's gone now as well, unfortunately. Big old bird, brown. As I say, didn't look like a kite. Could be wrong though, because I only caught it briefly. You can hear the jet noise, more frequent now, from Luton. And the A1M has finally gone out of earshot. Path across this field of barley to Rayfield Farm is clear. Still not cut, mind you, the barley. Doesn't look very good quality either. Hazy views back from a point near Rayfield Farm. Not Ray, rye, as in the crop. Quite hazy now. Just Just hope those rains don't come around 3-4 o'clock. By contrast, field of maize here. There is a kite. Lost him. Anyway, chances are the other bird I saw was a kite then. So, approaching George Bernard Shaw's former residence, the hamlet of Ayot St Lawrence. And I hope that's just jet noise I'm hearing and not thunder. Passing the Brocket Arms. So, round about 4.5 miles in, we've reached the redundant church of Ayot St Lawrence, just called Ayot St Lawrence Old Church. Filmed this before on various walks, and as I recall, there are no seats within the churchyard. They're all, well, both of them are outside the entrance here. So lunch is served. It's just gone 3 o'clock, so round about on schedule. And the noise I'm hearing, there you go, is indeed thunder. So that doesn't sound too good. Let me go and see if there's a sheltered area within the old church, just in case I need to use it. Not sure I captured that last time I was here. That's an old gate then. And brass telling us a little bit about the history of Ayot St Lawrence Old Church, which I'm sure you can find online. Interesting, there's an old vault in there. Aside from that though, nothing else. So outside it is. Interesting tale there. Not owned by the Church of England, run by a committee of trustees. Okay, just gone 3:30, and as you can see from this bench, presented by the Right Honourable Lord Brocket to commemorate the coronation of Their Majesties King George VI and Queen Elizabeth, May 37. It started to rain just as I was having my lunch, so bad timing. Not a lot I can do about it though. Got to press on. So here we are, passing old George Bernard's former residence. Onward journeys down this lane. This is the official GPX path coming from the old Palladian church that I've recorded on the SWC walk previously, but today I wanted to get a photo of George Bernard Shaw's place, so it's only a slight deviation. Onward journeys slightly down this lane a bit more where that vehicle is, and then a left, I do believe. Down here past this gate to a residence and on. Enter woodland again here, which now serves a different purpose to the cooling effect it had earlier. The leaves are giving me some respite from the raindrops. Heavy thunder and lightning, but thankfully not massively heavy rain yet. As you can tell by the dry paths here, we do really need the rain. No, that's the problem. Just not this afternoon, thanks. Still raining, about 4:15 now. Thunder and lightning, pretty unpleasant, but it was forecast. Let's hope it clears up quickly though. Missing lots of good scenery at the moment. At this juncture here, luckily for me, the walk continues through woodland. So we take the path through this kissing gate into lamer wood. And as you can hear from up above, rainfall now is starting to get heavier. So thankfully I'm inside, leaving the open fields behind me, albeit that the walk-in was fairly sheltered as I was walking along the edge of a woodland, same wood. Interesting, someone's built some kind of little village here. So that was a very pleasant section of woodland walking. Not much more to say other than it gave me some respite from the raindrops, or on a sunny day, the heat. Once again, we're back on the Hertfordshire Way. There aren't many sort of walks around Hertfordshire where you don't join it at some point. Thunder and lightning is still going on in the background. Rain seems to have eased off just a tad, so I've got the camera back out. I haven't missed too much because I've been in woodland most of the time, but as you can see, it's starting to have an impact on the surfaces now. I've even spotted puddles, but because it's so humid, albeit that that's calmed down a bit now that the storm's cracked it, it's actually nice walking weather now. Interesting, a couple of belted galloways over there. I think they are anyway. First cattle I've seen in a while. Well, today it's the first lot I've seen. As you can hear that thunder rumbling in the background there. Thor and his hammer. Right, for some reason at this finger post here, we leave the Hertfordshire Way, which goes straight ahead, and rejoin it, not too far distant, having gone right here. So occasionally, one thing I do notice on these Hertfordshire North Herts Ramblers walks is that the planning of them seems a bit illogical at times. Anyway, maybe it's to do with the distance, I don't know. But a nice continuation down there through woodland would have been good. Market town of Wheathampstead over there on my right. It's finally left off raining now, around 5:15. So we had about an hour's worth there. Not too bad though on a nice humid day. And now following a pleasant greenway, and I'm not sure if you can see ahead of me there, but it's quite steamy because it's quite humid and the rain's hit sort of hot soil, so steam developed. Love it, and there's a lovely aroma as well, that sort of smell you get after a rain hits dry soil. Crossing over the dismantled railway. I believe this one is the Wheathampstead to St Margaret's line. Such a shame, eh? So looking at the skyline above Wheathampstead over there, look at that, it's pouring with rain over in that direction. They're getting the full hit from the storm. Hopefully we're going to get this brighter stuff now. I'm headed south, so that would be southwest. So let's hope that's the way the wind's blowing. Generally does, but not sure about today. So leaving the Hertfordshire Way again, to now follow a path that joins the River Lee, or runs alongside the River Lee, believe it or not. Once again I'm in luck. There in another field, the other side of the fence. My onward journeys through these electric fences so clearly they get into this field as well. And this is where the terrain will be familiar now, because thus far there's been no duplication with the Saturday Walkers Club walk, but very shortly there will be, because we're following a path that I've done before next to the River Lee. Look at that, an absolute travesty. Himalayan balsam, totally out of control. This is the new rhododendron crisis. Man, look at it. Another alien. Now when I did this walk before, I'm sure I was walking the path that side of the fence. Clearly they've now shifted us on the other side, because there's a bench there as well ahead of me. Which is fair enough, because that allows the river to regenerate, as long as they get rid of that balsam. And I think I know the lady responsible for that, Sarah. Thankfully the rain stopped now as we're in open country. Fantastic. Mind you, it's pretty useless, you could hardly sit on that. Very pleasant section of walking this. Nice and peaceful. Nice and humid as well, even after the storm. Not much bird song, as you'd expect this time of year. Blue tit there in the background. The A1M's starting to come into focus, I notice. There really is going to be a good supply of elders this year. Shame we've lost the ways that, you know, make it into wine and what have you. I know certain people can still do it and do, but as all this foraging business has kind of got lost on us now, although some people are still resurrecting it. Eastern Europeans certainly know it. So on the Saturday Walkers Club variant of this walk, I came from up there, from Ayot St Lawrence, because I now recognise this big Gothic house in front of us. I think it was having at the time, it was having an open garden or something when I filmed it. So henceforth is duplication with the Saturday Walkers walk. I think that was a well-in circular. There's an interesting bracket fungus on a crab apple tree, or at least I think it's crab apple. There's a close-up of one. And the apples are falling off the tree as I'm stood here, a bit like conkers. Amazing. Nothing seems to eat them really, in terms of wildlife, not that I'm aware of. It's another waste. Crab apple jelly, or jam. Lots of bits of information there that I'm not familiar with. Poems and what have you, they've all appeared since last time. And just a reminder, we're on the Upper Lee Valley through walk. So there we go, the River Lee, flowing towards Brocket Hall. What an amazing slug. Never seen one like that before, orangey in colour. Amazing. Have to check that out. It's about 5-6 inches long as well. Absolutely loves that lichen. It's getting back in focus. Plenty of fish in the river as well, jumping around as I'm filming. Little trout, no doubt. So although it's called the Lee Valley or Upper Lee River Walk, you don't actually see much of the river, just that bit at the ford thus far. Cracking Scots pines in there. Final stretch of beech woodland before we cross the fairway. As I say, this is familiar terrain. Absolutely ridiculous, as I recorded last week. Out in the middle of nowhere I am, in the middle of Brocket Golf Course. And there's a mast dumped in the grass. We're going to have a serious problem with these. It's going to be the new plastic. Passing Brocket Hall, and I do believe the good Lord Brocket is now back in residence. My goodness, it's horrendous. Just the other side of that far tree line, you can hear the drone of the A1M. Sounds very much like business is back to normal in terms of roads. Horrendous. Not many on the fairways today. Parting shot of Brocket Golf Course. So there's a new walk. Wasn't aware of that one. Brand new this year. Not on any map that I know of. Now I did comment on this last time I came in this direction. This house was just being built at the time, so it must be 2 years back. And as you can hear in the background now, the old parakeets suddenly reappeared. Just like the Himalayan balsam, they seem to be adapting to our climate pretty easily. No one actually living in it at the moment though. So here we are, almost 6 o'clock on the button, and another lovely walk completed. Spoilt only by that shower of rain and electrical storm, which was a 50-50 gamble that I lost. So yeah, 4 hours 6 minutes, 10.6 miles. A good walk again. Lots of tree cover for hot days, which is why I did it, but it came in handy to stop the rain hitting me as well. So that's another North Herts Ramblers Circular completed. Ayot St Lawrence, actually Ayot Green Circular completed.